everyone, and welcome back to A Year in the TikTok of Feminist Landwhale. Yes, we are doing her again because for some reason I am really drawn to her right now. There's a combination of I gotta see what else she's gonna say, and I kind of just want to be done with her. It's like I'm feeling both those things at the same time. So I really want to just kind of focus on her a bit today. Quick note, I caught a cold last Sunday. I am recording this a week from there, so it's another Sunday, but it really only lasted about 3 days, but I have lingering stuffy nose and a little bit of a cough. So I will do my best to edit out everything that goes along with those symptoms, but if I miss something, I apologize. Now, we left off with this TikTok. I'm going to start here, but I don't plan on covering these because they look just like fashion videos, and I don't really cover those things. But let's just go ahead and dive right in.
It's about damn time. In a minute, I'ma need a sentimental man or woman to pump me up. Feeling fussy, walking.
Okay, so far, I decided to cover one of these only because this is the third one that I've come across. And so I figured let's just cover one of it. So far, I'm not, like, hating any of this. I think, let's see, the eggs and avocado on hash browns. I mean, do we need the fried hash browns? Probably not, but I mean, there's worse things that you could have. This is far better than, like, a stack of IHOP pancakes that's drowning in syrup and anything else that's put on top of it, because IHOP, don't get me wrong, pancakes look delicious and I'm sure they're wonderful, but they're pure fucking sugar. They might as well be a dessert. This at least has, good fats. This with, the avocado and the eggs. I think eggs are great to have. If you can stomach them first thing in the morning, by all means. The hash browns, while yeah, they're fried and they're not ideal, I mean, I still say it could be worse. And then after that, it was just some fruit. And, like, whole fruit. I don't see any syrup on there or anything. So far, really, really good.
He's trying to bring out the fabulous. 'Cause I give a fuck.
Trader Joe's grapefruit sparkling water. Sometimes the grapefruit, or not the grapefruit, but sometimes, like, just sparkling water doesn't necessarily have sweetener in it. So if this doesn't have, like, sugar in it, then it's fine. I don't think this one does.
Way too much. I'ma need like 2 shots.
Trader Joe's white cheddar corn puffs. I don't know how many of these she had. I understand. I like white cheddar Cheetos. And you can typically have a fair amount of them for not many calories. Like, it's not, like, I can only say for the white cheddar baked Cheetos, you can have, like, 32 of them for 160 calories. And if you're just needing a little snack, like, it's not the worst thing in the world. Are there better things? Yes. But so far, like, it depends how much of this bag did you eat,
To my cup, wanna get up, wanna get down.
Unicorn, cake pop, and pumpkin loaf. One of these probably would have been better than both. The cake pop at least looked kind of small, but these both look like it's clearly from a package, not a baked, which means this is just going to be full of fucking sugar. Right now, like, she started off really strong. Her breakfast was fine for the most part, but now it's been processed carbs, sugary processed carbs, and sugary processed carbs. Like, I don't mind the white cheddar corn puffs, like, if you're having one serving as a snack, but then to follow it up with the cake pop and the pumpkin loaf, it becomes a lot. You're taking in far more calories, especially since we don't even know how many corn puffs you had, but you're starting to take in a lot of excess calories and excess sugar, like, really unnecessary. For me, it's the sugar. I always get a little fixated on the sugar because it's a lot of sugar, and I feel like she doesn't realize how much sugar she's taking in.
That's how I feel right now. Oh, I've been so down and
Charcuterie. So, I like charcuterie. I get it. Especially with Ritz crackers. Ritz crackers are buttery and delicious. I get it. But on top, and I think, were you having this as a snack, it wouldn't be a big deal. But you already had the corn puffs, the unicorn cake pop, and the pumpkin loaf. And yeah, there's going to be some protein in the cheese, but the cheese is mostly fat. Let's get some more protein in there. You started off great with the eggs. So much of this has just been processed sugar and processed carbs. How about, like, some whole foods, you know?
Under pressure.
Black tea and boba ice cream with whipped cream. More sugar. More processed sugar.
I'm way too fine to be distressed.
Aussie style cookies. For fuck's sake, girl! It's the sugar for me. I can't imagine eating this much sugar in a day. I don't think I've had so many sweet things as she's had in a day since I was a kid. Like, this is, let's see, her caption said, had a very snacky day, lol, a little of everything. More like a lot of sugar. The ice cream, the cookies, the pumpkin loaf, the cake pop, the whipped cream on top of the ice cream. It's a lot of sugar.
Yeah.
So basically you had primarily, it wasn't just a matter of it being a snacky day, you had snack foods the majority of the day. Like your breakfast really wasn't that bad. But then you just had snack foods for the rest. Like, there was no actual meal. Have like an actual meal, please. And this is also why I have such a problem with Feminist Landwhale saying that the reason why she's fat is because she damaged her metabolism through weight cycling. It's like, weight cycling is more of a description of fluctuating weight based on, like, especially with, like, fad diets and stuff. Which, fine. But a lot of you even mentioned that, you know, damaging your metabolism can be fixed. And on top of that, I mean, we don't really know if her metabolism was actually damaged. Putting all of that aside, let's just put that aside. We're just going to put aside the potential of a damage. We'll even just say for the sake of argument that she does have a damaged metabolism. Okay? What she's eating is not conducive to a healthy weight. This isn't I eat salads, I eat lean meats, I eat healthy, and I'm just fat. You had ice cream, a unicorn cake pop, a large piece of pumpkin loaf, cookies and whipped cream, as well as white cheddar corn puffs. For, like, your meals, basically, for the day. Like, even if you didn't have a meal's worth, you were eating enough to basically constitute a meal because you had no actual meal during the day. So you had to be eating more of those snack foods, which are calorically dense and full of fucking sugar, in order to compensate for the fact that you didn't eat an actual meal.
So not that I owe you or anyone else an explanation about why I eat the way I do, I don't need to justify that to anyone, I'm gonna explain a couple of things. Intuitive eating really just means listening to my body and being like, am I hungry right now? And then if my body's like, yes, I'm hungry, it's listening to my brain and thinking about what I want to eat. Instead of just like eating things that are around me, it's like actually thinking about what I want to consume. And yeah, sometimes what I want to eat is gonna be fast food, or it's gonna be unhealthy food, or bad food, or whatever the fuck you want to call it. It is unreasonable to put pressure on me to eat a certain way because of how my body looks. That's not fair.
Okay, but here's the thing. Ultimately, I don't particularly care how she eats. I don't even particularly care how the way most of the FAs eat. What I really struggle with more than anything is this concept of I can't control my weight. No matter what I eat, I will always be this weight. But then they show what they're eating, and they're eating a bunch of fucking snack foods. It's the I am eating how I want, but however, I can't control my weight at all. It's those two thoughts together that really irritate the shit out of me. And for intuitive eating, like, I think intuitive eating can have a place in a bigger picture. Because something that I've been trying to do more, which I guess would fall in the same vein as intuitive eating, as when I go to eat, I do stop and ask myself, am I really hungry? Because a lot of the times I'm not. I'm either eating out of habit, I'm eating because I'm bored, or I'm eating because I'm stressed or feeling some other emotion that I'm trying to fix with food. And actually, I've noticed over the past several days, especially since I've been trying to implement that more, I've eaten way less. But I think that, to me, you're like, so I'm not just eating what's around me. It certainly seemed like you were eating what was around you. It certainly, like, at least I'm not shaming you for wanting fast food every once in a while. I don't really care. It's that you're putting this, what I eat in a day, as a fat person, like, unlearning diet culture and stuff, and yet you say you want to unlearn diet culture, but then you're going so far in the opposite direction of fast food culture. Of the weight gain culture, for lack of a better term, where it's all about these quick-to-eat foods that, quite frankly, and I say this from experience, once you start making your own food, and even, like, try making your own version of any of the, like, fast food stuff, 95% of the time, what you make at home will taste better, and then it kind of ruins the fast food version of it. I have had homemade, like, from scratch waffles, not the pre-made mixes, but like homemade from scratch waffles, and I don't really like the taste of other waffles. And like I have a hard time eating Eggo waffles because they just don't taste the same. They don't have the same texture as like homemade waffles or any of that. That being said, I'm more of a French toast person, but that's beside the point. Like, there's just a lot of things that taste better homemade, especially sweet things. And so, I don't know. Fine, you don't want to justify yourself. I completely get that. Do what you want, but let's be clear. Your version of intuitive eating isn't as intuitive as you think it is. The processed, highly palatable foods have a clear hold on you. Because most of what you eat is prepackaged shit food that is filled with unnecessary calories and sugar. You are a sugar addict. Most of us are. I would even qualify myself as a bit of a sugar addict because I still struggle with not eating sweets. Even like homemade, even the processed stuff. I have a weakness for Hostess snowballs. They're fucking delicious. And I know that they're shit food. Even tasting them, I can tell it's like shit food, but there's something addictive about it. Like, I get it. I get the addictive qualities of these highly processed, highly palatable foods. I get it. But that's not intuitive eating. That's just something else that has a hold on your brain.
I can guarantee that you wouldn't comment this on a thin person's what I eat in a day, even if they were eating fast food or eating how I ate, which I think is fine. I think I eat pretty fine. I incorporate fruits and veggies into my food. I drink water throughout the day, and I am fine health-wise. I also will like eat something and then realize I don't like it halfway through, or I don't like something about it, so then I'll stop eating it. Like most of the time with things like chips and snacks and stuff, I'll have a couple of them and then realize I don't want it and I'll stop eating them, because that's also what intuitive eating is. It's like being okay with not wanting to eat something even though I thought I did. So before you give me or any other fat creator shit about what we eat in a day, maybe realize that you don't have all the facts, and also realize that your opinion doesn't fucking matter because you're a stranger on the internet. Why am I gonna listen to you?
Well, in that vein, sweetheart, then why are you even responding? I mean, it's just, like, I agree. They're a stranger on the internet. Why the fuck would you listen to them? But you're giving them the time of day to record this minute and 40-second video that is then posted on TikTok, responding to this person that clearly bothered you. I say this with love. You must learn to not feed the trolls. This person, to be honest, I kind of agree with this person. I don't think that she's eating as intuitively as she thinks she is. But if it bothered me and I was like upset by this, I just wouldn't respond to it. There have been people that have said some rude things in my comments. Not very often. I'm actually very fortunate. It doesn't happen very often for me. But I ignore them. I ignore them unless I feel there is a point that I need to clarify. And then I clarify that point, and I leave it. Oftentimes they respond. If that response is just vitriol, I don't respond again. I mean, it is what it is. So it's one of the... I just feel like it's a lost art of don't feed the trolls. I think it would have made a stronger point to just not respond to this at all. If you're like, you're a stranger, why the hell would I listen to anything you say? Fair enough point. I mean, that's a fair point, I think. But then don't respond. Because otherwise you just kind of look like... I don't know, you just look very reactionary when you do.
Yeah, I know it's not that hard to go on a diet. You want to know how I know? Because I've been on and off of diets pretty much my whole life.
And that's part of your problem, is that you've been on diets. The issue with the difference between a diet and a lifestyle change is diets are considered temporary. So, yeah, you can go on a diet, and diets can still be hard. I'm not, like, I kind of disagree. It's not that hard. It is hard. It is hard to learn sustainable, good eating habits. It's hard. I think it's hard. But the issue with diets is that it's viewed as temporary. Like most, even just in general, diets are viewed as temporary. Where lifestyle changes, you're cutting out soda, you're cutting out juice, you're cutting out highly processed, highly palatable foods that you can just eat in abundance. That's a lifestyle change. And doing it slowly is kind of the key to sustainable, healthy changes and, quite frankly, weight loss. I only lost 10 pounds last year, when I very could have easily lost more, but I don't regret only losing the 10 pounds because I have made changes. I don't eat as much sugary stuff. Like, I'm slowly cutting it down. It's hard. It's hard for me because I really like sugary foods. But I'm making slow but sustainable changes to my eating habits.
Pretty much my whole life. And weight cycling is part of the reason I am the size I am today. Because the thing about diets is that they don't work. So yeah, maybe...
But the thing is that I don't think that weight cycling has nearly as much an impact as you think it is. Like I said before, weight cycling is more of a descriptor than, like, an issue. I would say the primary reason why you are the weight you are is we've seen it in your what I eat in dates. You eat a lot of processed food.
Go on a diet. Let's say for me, I went vegan. I did intermittent fasting, and I worked out once a day. So I was on like a pretty strict diet. I ate like 12 to 1,600 calories a day, while also being a student and working retail. And I lost 80 pounds, and it was great. But then I gained it all back and more.
I want to hear her
because weight cycling causes you to do that.
No, okay. Oh dear. There's a bit of a leap in logic that's made there. So, you gained it all back. Did you continue to eat 12 to 1,600 calories every day? Like, you've measured, like, you stayed on that, like, vegan 12 to 1,600 calories a day, working out once a day. Like, did you continue to sustain that and the weight just magically came back? Because I'm guessing that's not the case. There is a cause and effect relationship to weight. If you weren't able to sustain that health regimen, that is why you gain the weight back. It's not this mysterious mechanism of weight cycling. It's the weight cycling happened because you went on something that was probably a bit extreme for you and weren't able to maintain it and went back to old habits. So the initial efforts of this health regimen caused a decrease in weight. It was unsustainable, so slowly but surely you went back into old habits. those old habits that led you to be the weight that you were originally did what they did previously, which is cause you to gain the weight back. There is a cause and effect here that you are missing.
It's when you lose weight and gain it back and lose weight and gain it back and lose weight and gain it back. And sometimes when you gain it back, you gain back even more weight because your metabolism gets fucked up. So don't tell me to go on a diet. Maybe you should work on intuitive eating, which is actually kind of hard. But it'll probably be good for you. I know it's been good for me.
I'm not going to respond to that last bit. I've said what I want to say.
So when fat creators on this app talk about disliking mid-sized creators, will y'all finally understand why?
So I don't really understand what the issue was here. Point of view, these two battle in my head every day. And then thinks I'm too fat and should lose weight. Like, I don't see what the issue is here. I'm very... Well, wait, there's a caption here. It's giving teehee, I'm small enough to be the beauty standard, but big enough to think that I should be the face of body positivity. So, in other words, you're jealous. I didn't get the teehee idea from this. I've seen plenty of mid-sized creators. There's still, like, not thin. I know that it's not like the fat spectrum, but there's plenty of criticism to be had even when you're just a little overweight. It happens. And everyone struggles, and even outside of that, even outside of whether someone's fat or not, everyone has insecurities, and no matter how thin you are, you can still feel fat in certain circumstances, and you can still feel like people view you as fat, and you can still view yourself as fat. Depending on how thin you are, that could be more of an issue or not. But to me, this just says jealousy, quite frankly. She's smaller than you and has an insecurity that you have, and for some reason that makes you feel threatened or upset or what have you.
Fellow fat people, what's something that you do that you're pretty sure really pisses off thin people?
Literally being hot, happy, sexy, and content living their worst nightmare.
No. So, I'm not thin, although I'm sure they would view me as, like, those two, both, Prof. Brain Fever and Feminist Landwhale will probably view me as thin. No one hates you because you're hot, happy, sexy, and content living someone else's worst nightmare. No one's mad at you for that. Generally, there are people that are just mad at fat people for existing. Like, I'm not going to say that there aren't any people that are just mad at fat people for existing. There are. But I think that the vast majority of people, what the bigger issue is the victim complex, while simultaneously saying that you should be able to do whatever you want, but then getting mad at people for not finding you either attractive or for saying that they don't want to be fat, like that's somehow an attack on you. It's all of that stuff put together that people tend to have more of an issue with. And you'll notice that we skip quite far ahead in the timeline because a lot of it has been concerts and outfit of the days and going to drag brunch. Like, she seems to have been having a pretty good time. She was also working at, like, a registration or voting place for, I think it was a primary, but I don't remember for sure. There were a number of what I eat in a days that I kind of skipped over because I have a hard time really going through several of them, especially with the same creator. And then there were a couple of responses to some, like, genuinely rude comments. But, like, that's about it. And they were very short responses, and they were, like, with TikTok sounds, not necessarily her responding herself. And if she was responding herself, she was just, for lack of a better term, just kind of saying fuck off. Not in those words specifically, but... So I didn't really have a problem with that. I think that... And the vast majority of her content for this particular month, especially since it's been Pride, and she's been very happy about that, and she's been very excited for the different concerts and stuff. To me, again, it just kind of shows that when they have something really positive going on in their lives, the fat acceptance people don't tend to post so much about fat acceptance. And I can't help but wonder if a portion of this whole fat acceptance movement is just that they don't have anything better to do. I'll be very curious when we start to move back in towards fall and winter with this year in the TikTok, if she starts posting about fat acceptance stuff more. Because to me, that would signal that when, concert season is over, since it's primarily, there's plenty of concerts throughout the year, but my sister goes to a lot of concerts, or at least she did when she was younger. And it seemed like concert season was like from maybe late April to about mid-September. And like that was where like you could find the vast majority of concerts. And Feminist Landwhale seems to be a very concert-going person. So the fact that for a good portion of May and a good portion of June, there just hasn't been as much content to review from her. Which to me would suggest that she's going to a lot of concerts and enjoying her life. So, I don't know. I'm going to leave it there. Quick note on Otome games again, and that this is what all I'm going to talk about in this video. I'll cover some life stuff in the next one, but for this one, I want to talk about Otome games, so you can log off here and not miss anything. But, I'm playing my butler, and it was from the same guys that made Men of Yoshiwara, and it's definitely not as good as Men of Yoshiwara, although Men of Yoshiwara wasn't particularly fantastic to begin with. It was a fairly bland Otome game. My butler is something else. So I've already played. It's a very short game. It was $10 and I got 50% off, so I only paid $5 for it. And there's only 3 love interests, and so far I've played all the way through one route. I started this 2 day, like the other night. It wasn't even a full 2 days ago. It was like the other night. I've already finished one. I've almost finished a second one. And I don't care for this game. Like, I'm playing through it because I bought it, and it plays very quickly. You can get through one route in like 2 hours. So it's not a long game to get through. But the men are not well written. Like, the whole thing isn't well written. It kind of reads like a Wattpad fanfiction a little bit. But then on top of that, the tsundere is very, like, almost like comically stereotypical tsundere. And there's a love confession by chapter 3. Each route is like 7 chapters long. And there's a love confession so far for both guys that I've played through by chapter 3. But these guys, like, I think the creators were trying to play into the idea of, possessiveness and jealousy can be, like, attractive. But they take it to the, like, a really far, like, one guy straight up says, "You are my possession." And it's not, like, it's kind of out of the blue. It's, like, it's part of his declaration of love. You are my possession. And I don't care for that. They all cross, so far the 2 that I've played cross all sorts of boundaries. They don't fucking care. And there's this weird obsession with just watching you sleep, like, all night. It's weird. I don't like it. Though there was one of the guy that I'm playing through now, first chapter, in the name of being a butler, kind of forces his way into taking a bath with you. It's weird. It's weird and I don't like it. The childhood friend tsundere that I played for my first route, repeatedly was so possessive and stuff. One, he, like, straight up said he doesn't want you talking or even looking at any other guy but him, even at, like, just general parties. Not in a romantic way either. It's just, like, just in general. Don't have any conversation with any guy but me, which was creepy. And, like, he repeatedly will grab your wrist and drag you around the house, essentially, to the point where, like, repeatedly the text said that he was, like, grabbing your wrist or grabbing your arm so hard that it hurt, and even when you told him it hurt, he wouldn't stop. This crosses lines. I'm not loving this. I'm not loving the boundary stomping. I'm not loving the treating the protagonist, the female lead, as an object. I am not fond of this creepy watching me sleep all night. I am not fond of this in general. Like, I paid for it, and at this point, it plays so quickly, I'm like, I might as well just finish it. But, not great. Not feeling it. Would not recommend My Butler. And I'm actually kind of recording just general route opinions as separate videos, and I'm thinking of just having a very casual channel where I just post some of this stuff. But anyway, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you for watching. Stay healthy, and I will see you next time.